If you're a high achieving woman who's crushing it at work, but struggling in relationships, this is for you. First of all, you are not broken, and this is extremely common. Here's why 75% of high achieving women come from troubled homes. We had to hustle for love, be good, stay quiet, keep the peace, and do whatever we could to earn scraps of attention and approval. This pattern got hardwired into our minds and bodies, keeping us stuck in survival energy. It makes us total badasses at work, and the same pattern causes us to chase emotionally unavailable partners and settle for far less than we deserve in relationships. I'm Tiff. I'm about to show you why this happens and the exact mind and body rewire process that will empower you to finally break unhealthy relationship patterns and build secure attachment fast. First, I'm going to break down who this impacts specifically. Second, where the pattern comes from. Third, how the pattern plays out in our career and in relationships. And fourth, how to finally break these unhealthy patterns to build healthier, more fulfilling, and aligned relationships. First, let's talk about this hustle for love pattern. 75% of high achieving women come from troubled homes. Therefore, we can conclude they didn't get the love, the attention, or approval that they desperately needed and deserved. And so we can conclude these women are precisely the women that become total rock stars, total badasses in their careers. Think about leaders, directors, women who are in the C-suite, entrepreneurs, just total baddies. So this hustle for love pattern is something that was shaped between the age of 6 and 10, essentially where we had to learn how to earn love, attention, and approval. This very pattern, the hustle for love, makes high achieving women wildly successful in their careers, and it's the exact pattern that causes them to fail in relationships. So let's talk about where this pattern comes from. Between the ages of 6 and 10, we learn what we need to do to get love, attention, and approval, and how to really feel like we belong. Now, it's extremely common for high achieving women that they dealt with some things in the household that left them feeling like they weren't getting enough love and attention. When I say troubled home, this could mean many things. This does not have to be big T trauma. It could simply be you got dropped off to pre-K and you were terrified and your nervous system went into survival mode. Or it could be for other reasons. Mom and dad weren't very present. You weren't sure, like in my case, when my mom was going to get home from work. She was always working. Or my dad was always drinking. He wasn't emotionally present. So mom and dad may not have been present because of work, because of some sort of substance abuse, or potentially they just weren't emotionally present. Maybe you grew up in one of those no feelings household. There's no room for feelings. Stuff it down. We don't talk about that. If you're crying, go away. Or perhaps you had younger siblings and you had to parent them. You had to take on being a parent at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old to a younger sibling, and that was very stressful. You had to do whatever you could to keep the peace in the household. Other things could be experiencing verbal abuse. Maybe mom and dad were fighting, or maybe they just had big tempers and reacted to other people, or maybe they shouted at you a lot, or God forbid there was something worse like sexual abuse. Really, this could be across the board. I want you to think you just didn't get the attention and love and approval that you desperately needed. Now, I will say it's extremely common for my clients, high achieving women that I work with, to minimize what happened in the household. They'll say, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. My trauma, my dad drinking all the time and mom always being away at work, it wasn't that bad. Other people have it way worse. Bottom line, all of these things that I shared, there is a little child at the crux of the situation who's not getting consistent love, who's experiencing inconsistency with love and approval. And bottom line, in all these situations, the nervous system has the same response. The nervous system goes into survival mode. Typically, if there was shouting in the household, or if there was inconsistency with your parents being there, your nervous system goes into the survival mode because you didn't run from the tiger. You didn't fight the tiger. Instead, you froze. And so in all of these situations, there's survival energy that's stuck in the nervous system that was never discharged. And so what this feels like, survival energy, is a lot of angst and tension in the body. Think of just like always being stuck in this position. It feels like bricks on the chest, a lot of angst, a lump in the throat, or a pit in the stomach. Essentially, between 6 and 10, you learned that love feels just like that. Inconsistent, you're tolerating things, you're not getting what you need, you're settling. And it plays out like the bricks on the chest, the lump in the throat, and the pit in the stomach. That pattern, you carry that along. Now let's talk about how you adapt as a child in that environment. Essentially, you learn to look externally to figure out who you need to be and how you need to be to get love, attention, and approval. You learn to disconnect from your needs and your desires so that you don't burden anyone. You essentially learn that being your full self is not acceptable here. I need to be someone else to get love, attention, and approval. And what this results in often is that you learn to overachieve. You learn to crack the riddle. If I get good grades, if I take care of my siblings, if I do all the extracurriculars and play all the sports, and I achieve, mom and dad or someone, maybe a coach, maybe another parent, someone will give me love, attention, and approval. So you adapt by looking externally and achieving, shrinking who you really are, and essentially adapting to get that attention and approval. Now let's talk about how this plays out in your career. Essentially, you learn how to overachieve like a total baddie. You get the degrees, you get the jobs, you climb the corporate ladder. You are resourceful and independent. You are a leader. You just get shit done. Chances are you are a boss in all the ways. Perhaps you're a director, you're in the C-suite, you're an entrepreneur. You are a leader and you are resourceful as fuck. You look like you have it all together on the outside, like you're a powerhouse. Other women look up to you. People look up to you in general. But on the inside, chances are you feel like something's missing and you never feel like you're doing enough. And you just never feel like you are enough. And over time, this feeling tends to get worse. You think, wow, I have a lot to be grateful for. I have this 6-figure job. I have the house. I have my cute little dog. Dating's okay. I have okay friends. I have my health. But why do I feel like something's missing? Why do I always feel anxious and have the bricks on the chest and the lump in my throat and like I'm never doing enough? This is just the survival energy stuck in your body. And at the end of the day, you are looking externally to figure out who you need to be. And you never learned how to look internally to be your authentic self, to pinpoint your needs and desires, and to align your daily actions with who you really are and what you really want. Now let's talk about how this plays out in relationships, this hustle for love pattern. Essentially, it makes you wicked successful in career, and this exact pattern makes you absolutely terrible in relationships. You learned that you need to earn love. You learned that love feels like inconsistency, tolerating, settling for scraps. Your nervous system thinks that love is that survival energy. That angst in the chest, the roller coaster like love, the overthinking, the pit in the stomach, the lump in the throat. I can't speak my truth. I can't share my needs. You learned that love looks like earning and inconsistency and lots of tolerating. And most importantly, looking externally to try to figure out who you should be and how you should be to earn love. When really the only way to feel love, the only way to receive love is when we are our full, authentic selves, unapologetically. You see, nobody could really love me unless I am really all of me. People can only love me to the percent of my authentic self that I actually am. But if you've learned to disconnect from your authentic self and to be everything you think everyone else should be, you can't even receive love. There's no way you can have a successful, healthy relationship with the hustle for love pattern leading the show, with you leading from this survival energy. So this makes sense why you are drawn to emotionally unavailable people. Love equals getting scraps and tolerating less than you deserve and just falling for potential. This is normal for high achieving women. And I'll be honest with you, I struggled with this pattern for decades. And I'll tell you straight up, I have been a total baddie in career. I mean, I did great with the sports and the grades in high school. I joined the military post 9/11. I got all the awards in the military. Then I went into management consulting. I've had 3 companies. I am a badass professionally, even got the MBA, several degrees. However, in my romantic relationships, I was a shit show. My first girlfriend had a boyfriend. My wife had a partner when I met her, and I pursued her. I thought, oh, that's cool. She really likes me. Silly. After she cheated on me, then I moved on to a situationship. I swiped way too early. Right after divorce, hit my rock bottom, started swiping. That woman was living with her ex. I just kept chasing emotionally unavailable women because that's what my nervous system was used to. That's what love felt like. My nervous system was running the show. After hitting my rock bottom, I was extremely fortunate that my business was running itself and I could focus on rewiring my mind and body full time. It took me over 8 years and over $45,000 trying to solve this riddle full time to figure out how to finally rewire my mind and body. And I tell you what, I felt so alone, so embarrassed, and I thought I was broken because I was stuck in my head 80 to 90% of the time, ruminating on a situationship while trying to build a company with several employees that had the capacity to completely change health in the US. I was caught in my mind chasing someone who wasn't choosing me and who wasn't emotionally available. Now, I'll say everyone I've ever dated, they are beautiful, incredible people, and I needed all these people on my path. But I will say I was repeating my pattern and I thought I was broken. I was so aware that I was settling. I was so aware that these situations were unhealthy, but I couldn't break free. Now, I want to tell you exactly how I learned to break these unhealthy relationship patterns and to get my mind back online and to finally lean into my authentic self and who I really am, break that pattern of hustling for love and to really unlock fulfillment so that I can show up for myself, my work, and in relationships at an entirely new level. Now, I will say, if you're a high achiever and you're here, I'm going to bet that you've done therapy for years or for decades. You've probably read 87 self-help books, including Attached. You probably know that you're anxiously attached. You have so much awareness on what is wrong, but you feel stuck in these patterns. All of my clients, they feel hopeless when I reach them. They think, I've done everything. There's no way to break this pattern. And they're very skeptic on whether this pattern can be broken. Now, I'll tell you, they break the pattern in 2 to 3 months. We actually quantify it. We measure it every step of the way, and they prove to themselves that they've broken the pattern and they've built ridiculous self-trust and they lean into who they really are. These results are typical. They go from skeptic to crushing the program and to building secure attachment. So I get that you may be skeptical now, but I want you to be rational for a moment. It is likely that if you're struggling with these things and you keep failing in relationships, that you are stuck in your head 60 to 90% of the time, worried about these things, perhaps a current situationship, a past relationship. What if you never find love? I know that you're stuck in your head for a significant amount of the time, unless you're distracting yourself with work or jamming podcasts in your head or Abraham Hicks or the book Attached again. I know that overthinking is a big problem. So here's the deal. If your body is stuck in survival mode, it thinks it's unsafe. So to adapt, your brain starts overthinking. This is why you're stuck in your head 70 to 90%-ish of the time. Your brain is trying to create safety. So if you're going to therapy to think about these problems. Or if you're reading self-help books to fix the problem, you're still stuck in your head. This is a nervous system problem. Your brain is offline. And so, of course, these solutions haven't worked. You're stuck in survival energy, and you've never learned how to tap into who you really are. So I get that you're skeptic, but know that if your brain's online for 10 to 30% of the time and you're trying to jam more information in there, you're really not going to get anywhere. So we can think about that logically. Now, what I want to share with you is the exact framework to rewire the hustle for love pattern so that you can tap into your authentic self and actually build healthy, fulfilling relationships. Really, you need 4 main components. Number 1, we can't do any work if your brain is offline. So the first thing I do with my clients is get their brains back online. They learn how to train their focus to be in the present moment and to regulate their nervous system so that we can then do the work together. If we didn't do that, I would be trying to work with them with 20-ish% capacity. It would be like getting in a car for a cross-country road trip and like scraping off 20% of the windshield. Absolutely silly. So the first thing is to bring their brain back online. The second thing is we do a cognitive rewrite, meaning we go back to the root of the issue between the ages of 6 and 10. We identify where the hustle for love pattern started. Then we recognize it. We reinterpret it as an adult and write the new belief system on love. After that, we release the survival energy. We do the somatic work to finally break free from that survival energy. We have to get out of that. And until then, it's like pushing a rock up a mountain. Your body is fighting against you. We must do the somatic work to release the survival energy, to get the brain and the body synced up. And finally, we truly rewire the pattern on love. To do this, you need exact tools and a framework to identify your needs and desires, and then to align your needs and desires with your daily action. You need to learn how to put yourself first in your deepest needs and desires with ease and with love, with yourself and in relationships and in your career. All right, if this caught your attention and you want to learn more about how to rewire your mind and body to break unhealthy relationship patterns and to finally feel fulfilled, go ahead and snag the masterclass. The link is below. And also hit subscribe. I'm going to be dropping more knowledge here consistently on how to break unhealthy relationship patterns. Bottom line, I'm so glad that you're here, and I hope you'll be back with me so soon.